This is the Karl DeMasi Sports Report.
Excited to be back here again to talk about local sports, and that's what the show's about, local sport.
And now featuring Melissa Maikos, it's the Coach and Maikos on ESPN Savannah Hilton Head.
And good morning, Savannah and the Low Country, and welcome to the Coach and Maikos right here on ESPN Radio. Savannah, AM 1400, FM 104.3, and 92.7 now over in Hilton Head Island. And it's all presented by Chatham Orthopedic Associates because life is moving. Miss Maikos, good morning.
Good morning.
It's sunny. It's bright outside. I know you probably got 50,000 workout plans going for you and Markell.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Our workout plans are jumping up and down and cheering for football today.
Yeah, there's a lot of football, and I know I was on the radio last night with the ESPN high school, ESPN Radio Savannah high school game of the week with the Islands at Calvary. You guys were in the stands, and it's football all over the place. You know what? Technically, though, football started last Saturday, but nobody's giving it credit, just like they called this week 2, but we started football 3 weeks ago. I don't know, high school football 3 weeks ago. I can't figure it out.
Yeah, I was listening to you guys on the radio when Markell and I left the Islands Calvary game, and we were listening to the tail end of it, and that's some good stuff. Let me tell you, that is some good stuff.
All right, let's get the information set up there that we got to go by. We got a great show lined up. Of course, we're going to do a little fitness first with the Maikos, and I'm telling you right now, this lady is unbelievable. What she does with this, which is the 7th annual Tunnel to Tower run, and we're going to have Jane Grismer Dominance on now because she is married now to Nathan Dominance, the sports editor over at Savannah Morning News. But it's good old Jane from Rockville Center, New York.
Yeah, love us Northerners, Karl. For some reason, we keep moving down south and staying here in the SAV and the Low Country area.
Well, I'm not going back to New York. I love the weather. I can take 190-degree days over 30-degree days, so you just got to love it down here. Then we're going to get into the coach with the Mell and Kell, or the Kell and Mell. I always get that messed up. Kell is K, Mell is M, so the K before the M.
That's a good technique to
I got to remember. You're the English teacher,
yeah,
so
mnemonic devices work.
A, B, C, D, I, F, K, I don't know, whatever the alphabet is, okay. But anyway, it's the coach with the Kell and Mell on sports, and then we'll turn to Melissa and I, Coach and Maikos, will get out of here in the first hour. We play 2 games. We'll come back at 10:03. We got the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week from H.V. Jenkins High School. Jeremy Smith, senior running back. I had him on as an 8th grader. He was one of those future stars playing in an all-star game. Well, last weekend, in week 1, which is really week 2, he took Jenkins on his back in the first half, and he helped the Warriors beat South Effingham 22-6, I think the score was. Great kid, great family. His mother is a football fanatic, Kiana Akins, so she'll be here too.
Awesome.
And then we're going to talk to your buddy, your old pregame tailgate buddy from WTOC, Tim Guidera. You know, he's another New Yorker, but I'm telling you right here, he's been here longer than me, met himself a Savannah girl, never went back home to Staten Island.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, who wants to go back up to that cold? I was just talking to Markell about that, and we're trying to make some plans to get up back to Boston College to watch some games. I'm like, as long as it's not during the winter or when it's cold. And he's like, it's okay, it's okay.
Hey, you guys can be, from Boston and giving us a live update up there. But they won't be playing at 9 o'clock in the morning, though.
No, but we can always do like a tailgate show down there, you know. We were also talking about getting over to Florida State and hitting some UGA games. So I think, I used to be on a baseball stadium tour. Now I'm going to go on a college football stadium tour.
Well, you might as well. But don't leave me hanging on Saturdays a lot, though.
No, I mean, we should go do it together.
The whole reason I needed to get you on here, because it makes it a lot more fun me talking to myself and everybody else. Yeah. It's not fun talking to me, myself, and I, you know that.
No, it's not. I agree. I often talk to myself and people think I'm crazy, but it's not fun.
You're only crazy when you answer yourself back.
Oh, I do that too, though. So I'm a little, you know what? I always say that, I only go, people say I go crazy all the time. No, I only go normal a little bit. Crazy is just what I do. So, but yeah, I'm really excited about today, Karl, with football starting, going out to Friday Night Lights last night, and it's a good time of year.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll get Markell because this is the first time he saw a Friday night football game here in Georgia.
Yeah.
And, it was a big game over there at Calvary. Great field, beautiful field.
Oh, yes.
Save that for segment 3 with the Kell and Mell. So let's go on. We got a lot of news to get out there. Of course, we are your radio station for the Atlanta Braves baseball, the Atlanta Hawks basketball, the Atlanta Falcons football, 0-4 in preseason. And, of course, at 3:30 today, UGA football, which the pregame party will start about 11:30. So half an hour after we get off the radio, you can hear the pregame party. I like to call it the pregame show, but it's a pregame party for everybody. They'll go for 4 hours. They'll go to kickoff at 3:30, and the Bulldogs will be taking on Austin Peay.
Yes.
And then there'll be another 4-hour postgame show.
Perfect.
So it's all football here on ESPN Radio, Savannah Hilton Head. And my game show notes did not come up here. Okay, so I guess they weren't saved. So we're going to be going on a little off the cuff here. But the Braves last night, they lost 3-2 to the Pirates. And let's see. Let me see if I can find him here. All right, I'm going a little here. People, hold on. I'm trying to find my notes.
Well, I can tell you that, I get my updates on the Stinkies, right? The Yankees.
The Stinkies.
And maybe I should start getting updates on the Braves as well. I know there's a couple of people that we work with that are huge into the Braves, and we're getting into crunch time, Carl, where it's September. October is just around the corner, and this is the time where you need to really start peaking. And we know that the Braves are still in first place over the Phillies by 2 games.
Yep.
And so, they got it. They did lose. What did they lose
last night? 3-2. That's their third loss in a row. The Pirates, Gregory Polanco, 8th inning single, drove in Adam Frazier with the tie-breaking run, and they lost the night before to the Cubs, 5-4 the same way. So 3-game losing streak. They're still up 2 games. They'll be in your favorite place tonight.
The STP.
Okay, SunTrust Park, and they'll be taking on the Pirates again at 7:10. We got Chris Archer, former Tampa Bay great pitcher, now with the Pirates. He allowed 1 run in 4 innings and a 1-0 loss to the Braves on August 20th. And then Kevin Guzman, who we just got, through 8 innings scoreless against the Pirates. So in a 6-1 win on the next day on the 21st. So it should be a good matchup.
Yeah. 7:10 p.m. And plus tonight, are you ready for some more preseason football?
Well, we don't have preseason football. We had that on Thursday.
Oh, well,
the
yeah.
Falcons went and played in Jacksonville, and they lost there.
Last night they played.
No, last night, Thursday night. Whatever it was,
What's
Thursday
today?
night.
Oh, today's Saturday.
Thursday night.
Sorry.
I blew it. That's a typo, okay. The Falcons lost to Jacksonville 34-7, 0-4 in preseason. Brock Osweiler had a great first quarter, the backup quarterback job, threw for 3 first-quarter touchdowns. Dolphins beat our Falcons 34-7. And what do they got to do next Thursday night?
They only have to play some team from Philadelphia that has a Super Bowl ring, and it'll be their only Super Bowl ring in a million more years.
All right, let's go to the PGA Tour. We're in the FedEx Cup playoff. Brian Harman is there.
Yeah, Brian Harman, he's doing pretty well. He's tied for 8th at 3 under, 3 strokes off the lead. Last week he was at the Northern Trust Open, finished 48th at 3 under. He's ranked 34th in the World Cup. 32nd.
But look where he's playing.
He's playing in Norton, Massachusetts.
Where's Norton, Massachusetts there, buddy? You know where Norton, Massachusetts is?
I think it's south, yeah.
South of Boston?
South of Boston.
He's playing in Dell Technologies Championship, which is the next round of the FedEx Cup. I think if the top 50 make it on to the next round.
Yeah,
and the championship will be right here in the ATL in Atlanta.
Yeah, and Harman's 32nd, so he's in pretty good shape right now.
Right.
And then, of course, the PGA champion, Gene Sowers, that's our favorite. Yeah, where's he at? The Boeing Classic?
Last week he was at the Boeing Classic. He finished 35th at 4 under. He's off this week. He's ranked 13th. And just like the FedEx Cup, for the old guys, it's called the Charles Schwab Cup. Okay.
Excellent.
So local colleges, okay.
Ooh, the Tigers on the prowl. They're They opened up their 2018 campaign Thursday night in Alabama, Birmingham, and I don't want to say that score.
Losing to the UAB Blazers 52-0. I have no problem saying it. Next week, though, they go to the U.
The U, Miami.
Miami University.
The what do they call those? The chains? The turnover chain. Markell and I were talking about that last night. So they play Saturday, September 8th at 6 p.m. The volleyball team is off to a 1-3 start. They lost to Delaware yesterday. They lost all 3 games to Delaware. And next up at the Citadel, September 5th.
Okay, and we got to talk about SCAD. SCAD's full swing in soccer.
Yeah, the women's soccer team, huge win over, who did they play?
Burnell.
Burnell University, 7-0. Pitched a shutout, right? Bees are now 2-2-0. They play tomorrow at 12:30.
Right there in Hardyville, right across the bridge.
And the men's soccer team, they lost to a 22nd ranked team, Reinhardt 2-0 on Tuesday. They'll play home today, 5 p.m. versus Montreat.
Okay, and then we got to go to our college football scene. We got to talk about the state college teams. And I forgot to say, Georgia State did beat Kennesaw Friday night, as Savannah State lost to UAB on Thursday night. But Georgia Tech opens up at 12:30.
Oh yeah, Alcorn State, right? We got a lot of kickoffs going on today, and that one's at a 12:30 kickoff.
Starting wide receiver from Benedictine. I can't believe his senior, Brad Stewart.
Brad Stewart, this is unbelievable. Okay. We got some good local kids that are playing in
And starting at left tackle, redshirt freshman Zach Quinney out of Savannah Christian.
So many good kids, Carl, from our
There's
area.
so many. I know Colton Lichtenberg. Remember that name over there, Kell?
That's the kicker.
That's the kicker from Savannah Country Day that kicks for Boston College.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then, of course, Georgia opens up at 3:30 against Austin Peay right there between the hedges. And Georgia Southern, in the prettiest little stadium in the United States, Paulson Stadium, opens up tonight at 6 o'clock against South Carolina State. Okay, high school football. I'll let you take the first one.
Ooh, yeah, we had our first ESPN Savannah high school football game of the week.
Sorry, typo, second.
Well, we're in like week 3.
No, it's the third.
This is like when you're pregnant and you're due in 9 months, but you're really due in 8 months because you don't. Anyway, so
it's the third
week. So it was Islands at Calvary, and Calvary looked phenomenal last night.
Phenomenal. What about that field?
Oh gosh, that field 28-6. They were winners over the Islands. Sharks. Rocco Griffin, that junior, rushed for 122 yards, 18 carries. Jalen Leary, 77 yards, 11 attempts. And Thomas Carver, 9 of 14, passing for 85 yards and 2 scores. But, they were more about that run game with Leary and those kids.
All right, let's go to the Coastal Empire scores. Buford beats Effingham County 21-13. Wayne County beats Richmond Hill in overtime 23-21. Richmond Hill's running back Aaron Bedgood rushed for 107 yards, 2 scores on 16 carries, while also providing a 75-yard kick return for a touchdown. Michael Freightman had 9 tackles for the Wildcats.
Yeah, Bulls of Jacksonville, they beat New Hempstead 43-34. Pierce County 38-zip over Beach. Glen Academy pitched the shutout against Groves 49-zip. Savannah Country Day 42-zip over Johnson. Barry Kleinpeter threw for 4 touchdown passes.
But what's the first word there in that line?
Freshman.
Only a freshman.
Only a freshman. He was on fire. 8 of 15, 193 yards, 1 interception. Completed only 8 passes, but had touchdown passes of 11 yards to Ashley Pinkney, Matthew Mims, and Kenny Odom. And then 24 yards to Andre Miller. What a day.
Bryan County gets off the snide. They finally win, okay? Bryan County breaks an 11-game skid. They beat Long County 28-14. Teron Dixon ran for 249 yards, 4 touchdowns, saved 2 others with defensive plays from his defensive back position. Bryan County wins 28-15, breaks his 11-game losing streak. Savannah Christian.
Yeah, 49-21 over Toombs County. Markell Brown finished with 110 yards and 3 TDs on only 10 carries. Omar Burrows, a couple interception returns for touchdowns, some pick 6. And Spencer Robichaux, sophomore.
Nice.
Sophomore
you nailed
quarterback.
It. Say that again?
Robichaux.
There you go. I'm glad you're the journalist here, not me.
Yeah, I just, phonics works for me. 9 of 12, 93
She's
yards.
She's hooked on phonics. Okay.
Yes, we don't do phonics anymore, though.
I know. Nobody does, and we should do phonics.
Right. Memorial Day School, the Blue Thunder.
39-24, trying to get stats there. Bethesda, 56-0 over Northwood. Bethesda rushed for 8 touchdowns on the road victory. Andrew Sutton had 3, Jaden Wright had 2, and Shamari Dowdy, Keenan Davis, and Tyler Boone each had 1. Keon Davis. Does she correct you all the time too, Kell? Keon Davis and Tyler Boone, okay? Gabe Goodwin returned a fumble for a score. So Bethesda, 46-0 on the road. And John Paul and St. Andrews.
I hate this. They tied.
Okay, but you know why they tied? Because St. Andrews decided not to play the overtime. See, I don't
like ties in football.
Listen, you have to agree before a non-region game if you're going to play overtime if the game is tied. They never discussed it. Doug Dixon decided that there were too many injuries going on, the heat, humidity, so he said he was not playing overtime. John Paul says they wanted to play overtime. So John Paul is saying that St. Andrews forfeit, but St. Andrews says no, it wasn't an agreement. We'll just keep it as a tie.
Okay.
So that's the way it goes. All right, we got a couple of community events. I know we got Jane to come on. South Carolina's high school scores, just run them down quick.
Yeah, Beaufort Academy, 58, Lawrence, nothing. Bluffton, 35, Ridgeville, Hardyville, 12. Effingham County 13 over Beaufort, 21-13 Beaufort over Effingham County. Hilton Head Island 27, Battery Creek 6, John Paul 27, St. Andrews 27, tied for overtime.
Okay, our next guest is going to talk about next week we're going to be, and already Melissa's wearing her red bandana.
I am. The Tunnel to Towers Run.
7th annual.
Oh, wow, unbelievable. Yeah, we're going to have Jane Grismer on to talk about this event, so we'll talk to her about it, let her give us the scoop. And, of course, the Savannah City Amateur presented by O.C. Welch is September 1st through the 3rd. That's today through the 3rd. Amateur golfers, 54-hole format, and $150 to get in on the fun.
So, okay, that's what we got. There was a lot to cover. We're a little behind schedule here with, I couldn't get my printout to work, and we had to find the info. But once again, it's always a lot of fun on live radio.
Yes.
Next up, Jane Grismer, the coordinator for the Tunnel to Tower Run, the 7th annual Tunnel to Tower Run here in Savannah, Georgia, next week at Orleans Square. You're listening to the Coach and Maikos right here on
ESPN Radio, Savannah, Hilton Head.
And we'll be right back after this.
The Coach and Maikos, only here on ESPN Radio.
And it's right here on ESPN Radio, Savannah, Hilton Head. I'm the Coach, and I'm sitting here next to
Melissa Maikos.
It's the Coach and Maikos right here every Saturday morning on ESPN Radio, Savannah, Hilton Head. And it's all presented by Chatham Orthopedic Associates, because life is moving, and life is always moving for our guest. This lady doesn't stop. I think I do a lot. I think she does more than me. You know, she's from the next town over, the rival town where we grew up. She knows a lot of people I know a lot of people she knows, and it's always fun hanging out and talking to Jane Grismer about the Tunnel to Tower Run. It's the 7th annual. She is the coordinator, another New Yorker who ain't going back, and she's joining us now on the ESPN Radio Savannah Smiles mobile hotline. From Lynbrook, New York, now as Savannah is our home, Jane Grismer. Jane, always a lot of fun.
Good morning, Carl. Good morning, Melissa.
Good morning, Jane. That was like an announcement, like you were running onto the field. I was like getting all fired up.
Now batting for the New York Yankees, number 2, Jane Grismer.
Wasn't number 2 retired?
Yes, number 2 is retired, Derek Jeter.
Derek Jeter, yeah. So. All right, Jane, talk to us. 7th annual Tunnel to Towers run. We're so excited to have this here in Savannah. Tell us how it all started.
Well, we got the call in 2012 that the run was going national. It was probably January of 2012. And I raised my hand because I went to high school with Steven Siller, and I had been coordinating a run in Pooler at the Mighty Eighth. So I thought I was very well qualified to handle a run downtown, and not so much. A lot of learning curves, and but I went to high school with Steven, and
in Rockville Center at St. Agnes.
St. Agnes Cathedral High School, Rockville Center. He was a baseball star. He was the life of the party. Everybody knew him. Everybody loved him, and we were all crushed. And so we put this together. Tim Guidera, that I didn't know about, he contacted the foundation as well. So they put us together, and we knew each other, and it's been great. It's been this is our 7th annual.
And so Tunnel to Towers, the reason why it's called Tunnel to Towers is because Steven Siller was a firefighter, Brooklyn squad, and when the planes hit the towers, he was coming off of duty, and in his truck, turned around, went to the Battery Tunnel, was closed off, and left his car there, put on his gear, and ran through the tunnel right into the towers. And that's why, unfortunately, he lost his life sacrificing on September 11th, and that's why we do this run. And so 7 years of this run, Jane, how has it grown in the 7 years?
It's grown every year. We're looking at over 2,000 runners this year.
Wow.
Yeah, and this year, I want to add that this year we're dedicating our run to Sergeant First Class Army Ranger Christopher Solis. He died on July 12th in Afghanistan, and he's our hometown hero, and his family will be at the event.
And if you just look at the impact that Tunnel to Towers has had, since it went national, I mean, they've donated so much money to soldiers and to people that have sacrificed their lives. I mean, if you just look at their impact on the website, over $50 million to smart homes. What is a smart home?
Well, a smart home is a home that's built for a soldier who's catastrophically wounded, and it has technologically sound devices in it.
Yeah.
It lowers the cabinets. They can use their smartphone to get into the house. It's a home that's adapted specifically for that soldier.
Wow. And that's one of the things, for our soldiers that come home, their lives are obviously altered physically, mentally, and emotionally. And so something like this Tunnels to Towers Foundation and the Tunnels to Towers run that we have here in Savannah, it's emotional, Jane. I run it every year. I recruited my good friend, my boyfriend, Markell Blount, to run it with me this year. And he really doesn't, he's not going to be able to grasp the whole feeling of this particular run until he runs down past those Boy Scouts and those Girl Scouts holding those 343 signs. What is the impact of that with these little kids holding the pictures and the signs of these heroes that sacrificed their life on that fateful day?
Well, we call that part Team 343, and Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts hold a sign for each New York City firefighter that lost their lives on September 11th. And we have the bio on the back, so each kid can learn about the specific firefighter that they're holding. And, none of these children were born
right
on September 11th. So it is the educational component of our event. And, I've had runners saying, it was great weather, great course, but when I got to that point, it really slowed me down. So they don't do it for time.
Right, and this segment that we're on, that you're on right now, is called Fitness First. But I want to let everybody know that this. You're absolutely right. This, although is a run, a jog, as I like to call it, it really isn't one that you are trying to win. You're trying to soak it all in and take it all in, and it can be very, very emotional for everybody involved. And, the impact that we've had here on the Savannah community. And you talk about knowing Steven Siller. If you could just paint a picture of who he was and how hard that was to put the gear on and run through the battery tunnel. Because a lot of people down here might not know, how far that was or what that took. Just talk a little bit about that.
Right. So Steven, he was coming off of work to play golf with his brothers that morning, and he got the call on his phone. He couldn't get back into the Brooklyn Battery Tunnel, so he turned his truck around. He put on 65 pounds of gear, and he ran through the tunnel, which I think is just under 2 miles, and he went to the towers and lost his life that day. I ran through it once. In 2012. It was very emotional.
Yeah.
I'm still, this time of year, personally, is, it's just starting now where the weather starts to feel familiar. And we're just really happy to be, kind of in the mix of, do we have enough T-shirts? Our mind's on something else.
Yeah.
I don't think our brains can still wrap around the fact that our friends died that day. And it's emotional, and it's something that I'll always be a part of.
Yeah, and Markell Blount and I went to Boston College, and we lost our Eagle, our fellow Eagle, Wells Crowther, in the towers. He was working in the South Tower. He was working, I believe, in the South Tower, and volunteer firefighter. So it's amazing. And unbelievable how many people are impacted by 9/11. And so I have my Wells Crowther red bandana that I've got on right now, and it's the official Wells Crowther bandana. And so I encourage people to wear a red bandana in Wells's honor at this run. And you're the one that's been organizing it, and you really put together a good team in place to make this happen and make it successful every year. So what is it that you have done, that the people that you work with, to make it as successful and to grow year in and year out?
Well, I think what we did, and I don't know if this was the right thing to do, but it's what we did from the start, is we thought big from the start. Robert Espinoza was part of our original team to put.
Come on, you're a New Yorker. You're always thinking big.
That's right. We wanted to, in New York City, they have the 343, and it's expanded, but they had the flags for each firefighter. And, right out of the gate, we're talking about gathering 343 people. We didn't know it was going to be kids, but it happened to be the 100th anniversary of the Girl Scouts, which started in Savannah, so we decided to move that to be part of our run, and that's been great. But we always thought big, and we've been posting a New York City firefighter a day since 2013, 2013, 2014. Just our work ethic is high to make this happen and to plan for a big, flawless event. And, we just started thinking that way from the gate.
All right, we're getting down to the last minute here. Can people still sign up even though you're at 2,000 runners?
We're not at 2,000 runners yet, but we're getting there. It's T2TRun.org, and you look for Savannah, and you register there.
You got it. Any discounts under the DeMasi name? You go by DeMasi. I go by DeMasi down here. I'm not fighting with people, Jane.
You were DeMasi, now you're DeMasi, right? No, it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. You know Patrick DeMasi, so now it's called DeMasi, but down here I'm DeMasi.
I'm not friends with Pat DeMasi.
Right.
Well, not just the two of us. Of us.
But anyway,
yeah.
Jane, you know what? I don't tell you the story. I know you're getting choked up. I'm getting choked up. I'm thinking about Andy Stern.
I said.
Just a a guy I went to school with, I pledged the fraternity with, and we were very close, played baseball, football together, and he wasn't a fireman. He was on the 105th floor and didn't make it out. He was one of the only few bodies they found, so it's something near and dear to my heart, too.
Yeah, Tanner Fitzgerald.
And there's
Harry's brother.
Right, Harry's brother. And then, of course, fireman Timmy O'Keefe, who was a rival from Lynbrook, and he didn't make it out right. So, there's just so many people you and I know, and we can go on. And but you do a great job. Yeah. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you in Orleans Square with the Maikos. And, of course, now her sidekick, Kell, Kell, Markell Blount. And it's going to be a lot of fun. And once again, always a pleasure. Anything else you want to tell the community before we get out of here?
For me?
Anything else you want to tell the community before we get out of here?
Oh, well, sign up.
Sign up.
And let's dedicate this run to Crystalise and the 343 firefighters, and still counting, because so many of them die almost every day of 9/11 related illnesses, and the foundation is right there for them. So let's move it along, and we'll see you all on Saturday.
And Jane, we'll never forget about 9/11.
Never forget.
Never forget. All right, thanks. Looking forward to hanging it with you next Saturday. Thanks for having us.
Thanks,
right.
James. We'll see you Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, that's you can heal.
Oh, she's
you can hear the emotion. And Karl, it's hard. It really is hard, and especially if you don't understand or you haven't been there. Coming from up north, we were impacted so much so, and it's one of those Pearl Harbor moments. Where were you when? And so I think it's great what they do with the Girl Scouts and the Boy Scouts, having them be educated on these firefighters, first responders that lost their lives, and this is just. Unfortunately, this is my favorite run because of that, and I say unfortunately. I wish we didn't have.
My favorite remote.
Oh,
I
wish we didn't have to run it.
My favorite remote.
I wish it never happened, but that's not possible. So, but Jane has done an amazing job. And
connection with Jane is unbelievable. I didn't know Jane before I started doing this, and she knew my brother, and we got to talking about people, and now it's just a close bond, friends, and of people we know that have died because of this. But 9/11 we'll never forget. It's just a great topic, and like usual, Markell didn't keep us on the timer, so we ran over. But we'll be back with the Kell and Mell talking sports with the coach. We're going to get the Kell's interpretation of high school football here in the South, because he sat in the stands in that hazy, hot, and humid stadium for that game last night. So he'll talk about a little high school football. We'll get into him. We're going to drill him. You know that.
Yes.
You probably drill him every day. So it's the coach and Maikos right here on ESPN Radio Savannah, Hilton Head. Remember, we're streaming live at ESPNCoastal.com. We could be on your smartphone, ESPN, download the mobile app, go to Savannah Hilton Head, and, of course, on your radio at 104.3 FM, 1400 AM, and now over in Hilton Head at 92.7. We'll be right back after this.
Now, back to the Coach and Maikos on ESPN Radio.
And remember, the Coach and Maikos is brought to you by Chatham Orthopedic Associates, because life is moving. That's right, we're here every Saturday morning live, whether we're in studio on a remote. Next week, we're going to be on a live remote at the Tunnel to Tower run. We just spoke to the lady that coordinates it, Jane Grismer. She does a great job. Remember, get to the website, Tunnel to Tower. tunneltotower.org and go to Savannah, and you could sign up. And right now we're approaching 2,000 runners. It's crazy every year, but I don't know, Melissa or Markell, you haven't been part of this. It's just an event that you got to get to. Yes, we're honoring the 343 firemen who've died. We're honoring other people who lost their lives in this tragic event, and it's just get involved. It's one of the big events here in Savannah, Georgia.
Well, and it extends beyond the firefighters. It extends to the military, and it extends to those that what Jane said is it's more people are dying every day from the effects of 9/11,
Yep.
the pollution there, and so there's more firefighters and more people that have passed away from 9/11 that didn't necessarily pass away on that day. So that's why I really like this foundation, because it really speaks to the volumes that of what people can do to help out, and it's just growing year in and year out. And I can't wait to be there next weekend.
Be there or be square.
Yeah, we'll be in Orleans Square.
I know, I'm being corny, and the things I've got in my life don't sound right from what I'm told during the break. But anyway, so as we are talking, it's the coach with Kell and Mell talking sports, and Markell, big football player up there in the Boston, Mass area, and he played high school football there. Went on to play at Boston College. He got his first test of Southern football last night. His first taste and test because of the heat and humidity, and you saw those kids out there cramping, of high school football, and that isn't even one of the biggest games here in Savannah, Georgia, or the area.
Yeah, well, then I have a lot in store, for me to as I continue to go to games every week. It is my first experience of a high school football game here in the South, and I basically have two words: size and speed. It is just a different world. We've talked about it a little bit before, but now it's for real. It's for real. These kids are fast. They're big. They've got good skill. Well trained. I was very impressed, especially with Kell Day. I don't know who that running back was. I forget his name.
Come on, Rocco Griffin, Jalen Leary, yeah. Thomas Carver. Come on,
he looked like Terrell Davis out there running around.
Yeah, we could talk football here. I do the color for our ESPN Savannah Radio high school game day week, and once you got the motion going, the linebackers flow with motion. They're running the run pass option, single back offense. He runs behind where the linebackers were. Big day all night.
Yeah, cutbacks. Got to get the cutback.
So it. Motion goes one way, everybody's going with motion. You're going to come back the other way.
Yeah, that's why it's important for the.
So were you thinking that up there in the stands, sweating and dealing with all the heat, and the parents being upset?
No, I was just taking it in. I think I was sitting with the mayor. She tended to know everybody at the game, which was a lot of fun. Overall, it was just a great experience. Unfortunately, our friends at Islands, they had a tough game, but I think they'll bounce back. They'll get better from it.
Defensively, I thought they were really good.
It's on the field a lot.
Offensively, there's no. I don't know what you want to call it. Scheme. There's not a scheme, but there's just something missing on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, it's just a flow. It's just,
it is, the flow.
It's a flow, and maybe that's a little bit of the play calling and just getting adjusted. It was the second game of the year.
Yeah,
so they have some time to
offense
do it.
is always slower than defense.
Yeah, but they'll have to pick it up.
That's why you play defense. Exactly. Just pin your ears back and go.
I didn't want to play tight end, Carl. I wanted to
just
play
so you know, number 1, Daquan Dowse, he's going to Georgia Tech. Number 65, Saeed Stevens is going to Duke. Number 4 on Islands is going to Florida State. Kalen DeLoach. So you just saw the athleticism, the speed, the difference. How about Kalen DeLoach as a punter?
Yeah, kick returner too, by the way.
But as a
punt returner,
if he was
a punter,
I heard he kicks it 50, 40, 50, 60 yards in practice.
Yeah, he's definitely an athlete. I know we had him in here a few weeks ago. And I think I was looking up to him, actually, Carl. That scared me, actually. It scared me.
So, but anyway, okay, now your interpretation of the field. There's only 4 stadiums in the United States that have the same field as Calvary Day School. Calvary Day School is the only high school field with that field, okay? Of course, I'm going to gag because it's in Gillette Stadium. We know who plays there, the New England Patriots.
Don't hate
I know. Don't hate. I'm not hating you. I hate the New England Patriots, okay? I'm sorry that I'm a Jets fan. And then the Jets go get rid of Teddy Bridgewater and going to rely on this kid from USC who needs to gain experience. Okay, I'm going off the top here. But anyway, just beautiful. That turf, the way it looked, and up in the press box, I mean, because we were higher than you. I mean, just the scoreboard. I mean,
Yeah.
What do you call it? 25-second clocks in the end zone.
World class. I mean, it like you said, there's not that many stadiums. It's those kids should feel privileged to play there because obviously not everybody gets that.
I mean, it's just something special. Melissa, I know you've been touring a lot of stadiums all the way from Fargo, North Dakota, all the way down to Tallahassee, Florida, back to Savannah, Georgia.
Yes, unbelievable atmosphere. And it's a family atmosphere, whether you're on the Calvary side or the Island side. I definitely felt that community. And the one thing, you're gonna laugh at me, but so the way that I learned about football was, yes, playing Madden, but I was first introduced to football, other than watching it on TV, from my dad, and I was the chain girl. My sister and I helped
working on the chain.
We
gang.
have the chains.
Sorry. Don't take that out of the way. She wasn't on the chain gang. Okay, she was on the chain gang for a football field.
On the football field, I held the sticks, and at Calvary Day School, the sticks were what do you call it? They lit
Digital.
up. Digital. Yeah, the first down marker, the second down marker, fourth. I was like, whoa!
As Kevin Thomas said, it was first class the whole night.
Very much so.
The way that, and they redid the press boxes, air conditioning in there.
Nice.
It's well lit. I mean, it was just a whole experience. So
well, and everything down to they had the T-shirts for sale.
Yes.
Not only did they have Calvary Day School T-shirts, they had Islands
Shark
T-shirts.
Week.
So yeah, Shark Week. But they had and I like that. And yes, there's the rivalry. And yes, you want to win the game. And I'm sure the Sharks went home disappointed. But the overall atmosphere was really intriguing and a lot of fun. So it was neat. It was definitely neat. I'd go back there just for a game, whether I cheered for one side or the other.
I know we got to get out of here. We're not going to have time to end the first hour. We never have time to end the first hour. But the little kids, the youth,
little Sharks,
as I like to
youths.
say, the youth football game in between halftime between the Island Sharks football program and the Calvary Day School little kid program.
Oh my gosh, who was that little kid from Calvary? The kid with like the little skinny legs. It was just running up and down that field. I was like, who is that kid? Get him a uniform and put him on the sideline right now. But I was talking to Mrs. Surzant, and
Brenda.
Yeah, her daughter plays basketball at Islands. And
Volleyball, basketball, and soccer.
And I've known the Surzants for a while.
Searzant.
Well, I'm from New Jersey, and
they say Searzant. They corrected me. I used to say Surzant. They correct me. It's Searzant.
Well, and do you know?
I'm correcting the English teacher finally. Phonics.
Small world. Her husband went to high school with my brother-in-law.
Nice.
And he went to Trenton State.
Trenton State won a national championship.
Hooped it up, right?
He's only 6'8".
Right, and so
you think Kalen DeLoach and Markell are big?
Yeah, he's a tall drink of water. Well,
Markell's got to look up to him.
Yeah, well, I met them at the Y a long time ago, and so
tall drink of water.
It was nice to see them so Mrs. Searzant was telling me about Brenda. I know. She was telling me about if you go to those fields off of Sally Mood.
You can relax. You're not teaching today. You don't have to call them by Mr. and Mrs., the parents.
Okay, so Brenda was telling me how if you go off Sally Mood and watch like the littles play, she's like, it's just a sea, like hundreds of little Pee Wee football players, and I thought that was really neat because they're so cute and they're so they're so impressionable at that point. And I was telling Markell, I'm like, you didn't play Pee Wee football. He didn't get to play Pee Wee football, so
neither did I, Markell, because we had it in the north, but I was always too fat. I couldn't make the weight limit.
Markell was too big. So yeah, we'll talk forever about this.
I was too fat. I was a roly-poly kid. Still am a roly-poly adult, but anyway. So, all right, well, we got to get out of here. We got to have at least 4 minutes to get out of here to end the first hour. We'll be back with hour number 2 at 10:03, but we're still coming back with the last segment. We're supposed to be turn 2. We're supposed to go from hour number 1 to hour number 2, but who knows? You're listening to
The Coach and Maikos right here on
ESPN Radio Savannah Hillman. We'll be right back after this.
Back to Coach Karl DeMasi and Maikos on ESPN Radio.
As we end hour number 1, or game number 1, as the Coach and Maikos like to say, because we're sports fanatics and we like playing games, and we play 2 here every Saturday morning. Thank you for listening to us, whether it's for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. We only got 4 minutes in this segment because Melissa and I tend to talk too much with the guest, and, of course, our man, part of the show now, Markell Blount, he comes on twice during the show to give us his input. But this is turn 2. This is where we should be taking 2 turning topics in the world of sports, breaking down. But, Melissa, I'm going to start with one really quick. We got about 3 minutes to go here. I'm tired of hearing about Urban Meyers. My opinion is he should be fired.
Okay.
I agree with everybody. But Paul Feinbaum, who started out as a big Alabama fan and had his own podcast. Now he's a national sports reporter and sportscaster on ESPN. Where does the guy get off to start telling us how Urban Meyer's no good, he's a liar, he's always been that way, and all this? Just tell us, Paul, that you feel he should be fired because he didn't take the responsibility for the guy domestic abuse with his wife. I'm tired of hearing about him ripping apart Urban Meyer. Who gives you the right? How about I get on and start ripping you apart?
Right.
I'm tired of it. I'm tired of hearing Paul Feinbein this about Urban Meyer. That, it's over with. The guy made a mistake. He should have been fired. I think he should have been fired because that's his responsibility. The top man is responsible, just like Joe Pa.
This is a tough one, and I think
not that whether he should be fired or not.
Right.
I'm tired of hearing about it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so I'll stay away from my opinion about whether he should be fired or not. And I think the reason why he wasn't fired was because of the position that he's in. And unfortunately, in this day and age of domestic violence and it all coming to the forefront into everything, I think people need to take responsibility for their actions. And so, but yeah, I'm over it. Let's get into some football and let's get on with it. Just like the Julian Edelman thing. I'm tired of hearing about him taking, whatever he took.
Tired about taking about deflate and all that other stuff.
I'm tired of it. I can't.
Bill Belichick's not personable. Okay. I listen to sports. I get involved in sports for relief from the world stress that we face. And why does everything have to be so negative and negative? And even in sports now, we have to hear the negative stuff. You get tired of it. I go to sports to get relief. I want the positive stuff.
Me too. But unfortunately, with social media nowadays, Carl, I mean, it comes over your feed. I get, I get the ESPN Coastal updates and all that fun stuff. But I tell you what, if you want a new positive twist on things, and you want something to laugh about and something to make fun of, I joined a fantasy football league.
You go, girl. You go. What's your nickname?
We will Gronk you.
We will Gronk you. That's like more deep productions.
Yeah.
Well, you're going to like mine too, Markell. It's on that line. Mine is called The Rocks. The Rocks.
Yeah, we will Gronk you, in honor of Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, we know.
But I couldn't do Kell and Mell because it's no boys allowed. It's an all-female
nice.
league. And so I think I was behind the 8 ball, and I know I kind of flipped the script here a little bit, but I thought it would be a little bit more enlightening. I think it was funny because my sister got me involved.
Nice.
And so
30 seconds.
My sister got me involved in this, and they had somebody drop out. So she's like, would you do it? And
nice.
Last weekend when we were in Atlanta, Kell and I were helping her with her fantasy team, setting her up for her draft. And here I am. She's like, oh, well, are you going to take all the players you told me to take? I'm like, yep. But she drafted
no sibling love when it comes to sports and competing in games and whatever you may be doing.
But our league name is called Sacks in the City.
I'm not going to touch that one. But anyway, so remember, stay tuned for game number 2 of the Coach and Maikos right here on ESPN Radio. We got the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete Week coming up. Jeremy Smith from HV Jenkins High School, and, of course, Tim Guidera. You're listening to Coach and Maikos. We'll be right back after this at 10.
This is the Karl DeMasi Sports Report.
Excited to be back here again to talk about local sports, and that's what the show's about, local sport.
And now featuring Melissa Maikos, it's the Coach and Maikos on ESPN Savannah Hilton Head.
Good morning, Savannah and the Low Country, or as we say, the Coastal Empire and the Low Country. It's the Coach and Maikos right here on ESPN Radio Savannah, and it's all presented by Chatham Orthopedic Associates because life is moving, and we're moving every Saturday morning here. We're having a lot of fun. We might go overtime in our segments. We can't keep to a clock like we have on a timer we have on our computer, but we're having a lot of fun, and it's been a lot of fun to add Melissa Maikos. She's been on the show. It used to be the Karl DeMasi Sports Report now since October.
Yes.
And, it's been a lot of fun. And she used to be a TV personality. She decided to turn that into, put her hair up in a bun and be the teacher so she can get apples from the kids every day. But it's definitely a lot of fun. And
how do you like them
It's
apples?
bringing back the energy that she had when she was a TV reporter, sports reporter. And people, she knows her sports. Sports reporter. She's been in Fargo, North Dakota, Tallahassee. Where else?
Boston.
Now Savannah, Georgia, and she turned in her reporter credentials to be a teacher, which she loves what she does.
And I'm thankful to be.
You do what we do, right?
Yeah, we do what we do because we do it.
So,
I was thankful for this opportunity because I love talking sports, and this just, I wasn't. People ask me all the time, why'd you leave TV? Why'd you leave TV? And for me, if something stops becoming fun, I'm done. And, because I don't want a job. I want something that I enjoy going to every day. And, teaching has its moments, but I have more good days than bad days. And through it all, I'm just going to smile.
The grind.
Yeah, it's a grind, but it's,
when you're a TV reporter, you start at 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. You don't get home to 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. And, it's not a life. You got to love what you're doing. And, I give credit to the big guy, Frank Silkowski, WSAV, Amber Lynn, Greg Talbert, the new guy, I can't remember his last name. I do apologize. Rick Snow and Ken Griner. And, and I think Tim Guidera switched, now he's the mid-morning live host, which he doesn't have to spend doing the stuff he does at night for WTOC. So it's a grind.
Yeah, it is a grind. And what people don't see is even the people that are, in the higher up markets, you look at some of these big-time reporters and stuff, look at their travel schedule. Remember we were talking to T-Pain, Tiffany Green, and, she got a little kid at home, and her schedule, it's a grind. You're traveling all the time. You're away from family and friends. And I'm a homebody. On a Friday night, Carl, I'm not out at the club. I'm at home.
Right.
I want to watch SportsCenter. I want to be home with Markell, and I want to just chill.
And her 3 dogs and her pig, Pee-wee.
Yeah, my 3 dogs and my pig, and I'm a homebody.
Pee-wee, right?
Yeah, Pee-wee. And what
was I calling, Peter?
Pee-wee.
No, I was calling Petey.
Petey. But yeah, so it is a grind, and I got burnt out, and so here I am.
Back talking sports, and it couldn't be more fun. And it's the Coach and Maikos every Saturday morning here on ESPN. Savannah Hilton Head, and next week we'll be live on a remote at something near and dear to our heart. We remember 9/11. Melissa, because a dear friend that went in and tried to save lives. Me, because a friend that was killed in the Twin Towers of 9/11. And Jane Grismer, local girl now. She loves Savannah, Georgia. She was from New York like me. Next town over. Just a great event. We'll be there next weekend.
Yeah, it's a great story.
7th annual.
7th annual.
So, okay, let's go to the scoreboard. We got a lot of news and high school football updates, so we're going to make this quick. All right, Braves lost last night. We are your source for Braves football, Braves baseball, Falcons football,
Braves football,
Hawks basketball, and, of course, UGA football, which starts today right here at 11:30. So, all right, hour number 1 in the books. Let's talk about what's going on in hour number 2. We're going to have the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week coming in at 10:18. That's Jeremy Smith from HV Jenkins High School. Great game the other night. Brought Jenkins back into the win column with a great game against South Effingham. He'll be on. And then we'll talk to Tim Guidera on his way up to Athens with Ken Griner from WTOC for the pregame show, right?
Yes.
Is that what they call it over there at WTOC?
Tailgating
show. That's well, you've been part of it. So anyway, let's go to the Braves. The Braves lost 3rd in a row. They're still in first place. They lead the Philadelphia Phillies by 2 games. Tough week this week. They lost. They only won 2 out of 6 games. So the Pirates got to them last night. Gregory Polanco's 8th inning single drove in Adam Frazier with the tie-breaking run, and the Pirates recovered after blowing a 2-run lead to beat the Braves 3-2 last night. They'll be at STP tonight.
Versus Pittsburgh.
What's STP?
I almost said Stone Temple Pilots. SunTrust Park. STP.
And the pitchers on the bump on the hill. We have Chris Archer going for the Pirates and Kevin Guzman going for the Braves. Okay, Atlanta Falcons played their last preseason game last Thursday night against Jacksonville.
Yeah, they lost 34-7. They're 0-4 in preseason, but don't freak out. Don't freak out, because I remember one year the Patriots were 0-4 and they won
Being
a Super
a football
Bowl.
coach, I couldn't care about scrimmages in preseason as long as I won during the regular season.
Right.
Next Thursday night, we're going to be in Philadelphia.
They're going to play the Super Bowl champs. God, that hurts to say that. The Philadelphia Eagles, 8:20 is kickoff, September 6th. That's a Thursday night ball game.
And on the PGA Tour, we go to our pro golfers. Brian Harmon this week is at the Dell Technologies Championship in Norton, Mass. Okay, south of Boston. Okay, it's the FedEx Cup playoff. He made it to get to the next round. He's tied for 8 at 3 under. Last week at the Northern Trust, he finished 48th to qualify for this next event. You got to qualify every weekend to keep on going.
Yeah, and the PGA Champions Tour, Gene Sowers, at the Boeing Classic, he finished tied for 35th at 4 under. He's off this week. He's still ranked in the top 20 in the Charles Schwab Cup. Oh, sorry, Carl. Local colleges, Savannah State, they opened up their 2018 campaign Thursday night in Alabama, Birmingham. They lost to the Blazers 52-0. Up next, they're going to play the U.
The U with the turnover chain, and my favorite coach, or one of my favorite coaches.
Mark Richt.
Man with class, man with dignity, big faith guy, Mark Richt.
Yes, love him. September 8th, 6 p.m. kickoff at the U. That's in Miami. Volleyball's off to 1-3 start after losing to Delaware yesterday. Next up, they'll play the Citadel on September 5th, which is, what day is that, tomorrow? What's today?
Next Thursday.
No, sorry.
Wednesday or Thursday.
My days are all off. Women's soccer, scattered women's soccer.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah, they dominate the home opener 7-0 win over the Golden Tigers of Brownell University. Brunel. The Scad
I can't believe I'm correcting you today.
Brunel.
You've been hanging out with me too much.
Yeah, the Scad men's soccer team lost to top 25 ranked Reinhardt 2-0 on Tuesday. And, of course, college football.
They're home today, though.
Oh, yeah.
Scad men are home today, 5 p.m.
And the women are home, too, at 12:30.
Right, so get over there to the Hardyville soccer complex for Scad. Okay, let's go college football.
Georgia Tech opening up against Alcorn State, 12:30 kickoff. Georgia, UGA, and we'll have the pregame show starting at 11:30. They will take on Austin P at 3:30 p.m. kickoff, and Georgia Southern over up there in the borough at the pretty littlest stadium in the country. SC State, 6 p.m. kickoff.
Nope, let's stop right there.
Okay.
How was it when you covered the Georgia Southern football?
Oh, my gosh. One of the most amazing experiences of my life. First of all, Paulson Stadium is exactly that, the prettiest little stadium. And just covering the Eagles, they have such a following, such a fan base, and it's so intimate. And I love that. I love that I followed them my first year,
right,
and traveled with them, and myself and Dal Kennedy, and covering Georgia Southern. I mean, it was fun.
Did
it was
for
awesome.
4 years, right?
I covered them and followed them on the road for my first year, and then my second year, I was in the studio more.
Okay. But
Yeah.
you were at OTOC for 4 years then, right?
Yeah, I was there for 2 years full time, and then I think 3 years where I did the tailgating show.
Okay. So
Yeah.
Melissa Maikos was on the scene for Georgia Southern football. High school football has already completed its third week, even though we said it was week 2. Third ESPN Savannah High School football game of the week featured the Islands Sharks going down to Paulson, 63rd and Paulson, to the Specialty Sports Complex. Unbelievable. The Sharks lost to Calvary. Calvary victorious on their home field, 28-6.
Yeah, what a game. Rocco Griffin, impressive young man. He had 122 yards, 18 carries. Jalen Leary, 77 yards on 11 carries. Thomas Carver, under center, was 9 of 14, although he was more in the pistol and the shotgun.
Right.
9 of 14 passing, 85 yards, and 2 TDs. And then some more scores from Friday night from the Coastal Empire. Beaufort over Effingham County, 21-13. Wayne County just over Richmond Hill, 23-21. Richmond Hill's Aaron Bedgood rushed for 107 yards, 2 scores, 16 carries. He also had a 75-yard kickoff return for a score, and Michael Freitman had 9 tackles for the Hill. They are now 1-1 on the year.
Okay, New Hampstead traveled to Jacksonville to take on the Bowles School, 43-34 Bowles. Pierce County beats 38-0. Glenn County beats Groves 49-0. Savannah Country Day, 42-0 over Johnson.
Yeah, big day for freshman
There
quarterback
you go.
Barry Kleinpeter. He threw 4 TD passes, was 8 of 15, 193 yards, 1 interception. He only completed 8 passes, but had TD passes of 11 yards to Ashley Pinckney, to 17 yards to Matthew Mims, 59 yards to Kenny Odom, and 24 yards to Andre Miller. Big day for the freshman.
And Bryan County, the Redskins, which it's politically correct, it's still in high school, but
Yeah.
we can't do that in the NFL. The Bryan County Redskins beat Long County 28-14, break their 11-game losing streak. Tayron Dixon ran for 249 yards, scored 4 touchdowns, saved 2 other touchdowns from his defensive back position as Bryan County snapped their 11-game losing streak. Let's go over to Savannah Christian, and it was Donald Chumley night.
Yeah, 49-21 over Toombs County. You got to win on D. Chumley night, right? Omar Burrows, pair of INTs for touchdowns, some pick sixes. Markell Brown, running back, finished with 110 yards and 3 scores on only 10 carries. And Spencer Robichaux, the sophomore quarterback, 9 of 12 for 93 yards.
You impress me when you say these names.
Robichaux. Well,
I would have butchered that
Yeah, but I can't get some of these colleges right.
because you've been hanging out with me.
Yeah.
Okay, Memorial Day School, the Blue Thunder. Melissa Maikos' first stomping grounds as a teacher beats Pinewood Christian 39-24. Bethesda goes up to Northwood and wins 56-0. Bethesda rushed for 8 touchdowns. Aaron Sutton had 3. Jaden Wright had 2. Samari Dowdy, Keon Davis, and Tyler Boone each had 1. Gabe Goodwin returned a fumble for a score. So the Bethesda Blazers, the Bethesda Academy Blazers, go on the road for a big win. And we had a little tie. It's like kissing your sister, but you know what? It's preseason.
John Paul II at St. Andrews, 27-27. Ben Jones from St. Andrews had a 76-yard kickoff return for a TD. Grayson Abernathy had 4 catches from Connor Dodge, including 2 TDs, 5 and 75 yards.
Okay, pretty impressive. We'll go to South Carolina because we are over there now on Hilton Head Island. Here are the low country scores. Beaufort Academy 58, Lawrence Academy nothing. Bluffton 35, Ridley and Hardyville 12, Beaufort 21, Effingham County 13, Hilton Head Island 27, Battery Creek 6, and just like we said, John Paul and St. Andrews ties 27-27. And community news, right now we have the Savannah City Amateur going on at Bacon Park Golf Course. It was open to all amateurs, 54-hole format. They had different divisions. We'll give you an update next week. And, of course, near and dear to our heart, we'll be there live on remote for ESPN Radio Savannah Hilton Head.
The Tunnel to Towers run will be live in Orleans Square. Markell, Blount, and I will be running it, and then we'll join Karl for the show on a live remote. Look, well, hold on. We're not running it. I'm jogging it. Jogging.
And I'm watching it.
Yes, and that's next weekend, Saturday, September 8th, 8 a.m. is when the first runners will run through that start line, and we'll be there live. So sign up at tunneltotowers.org. Look for the Savannah sign to sign up, and or go to our Facebook page, our social media page, and you can click on the link to sign up there as well.
Next up, we do this every week, and we love it, the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week from HV Jenkins High School. He was here 4 years ago as a 8th grader. He played in the Future Stars All-Star game, and he chose to go to wind up at Jenkins High School, and he took his team on the back last week to beat South Effingham. He'll be here live in studio, Jeremy Smith. You're listening to, take us out, Melissa.
ESPN Radio, Savannah Hilton Head.
We'll be right back after this.
Now here's the coach, Karl DeMasi and Melissa Maikos on ESPN Radio.
Welcome back to the Coach and Maikos right here on ESPN Radio Savannah Hilton, and it's all presented by Chatham Orthopedic Associates because life is moving. Chatham Orthopedic Associates, located right there on Paulson, right across from Calvary Day School. Great bunch of people, Dr. Spencer Wheeler and the gang, and we appreciate them sponsoring and presenting this show every Saturday morning live. And it's the Coach and Maikos, no longer the Karl DeMasi Sports Report. We're having a lot of fun, and this is where we get to talk to the good kids that have been around for a while. And 4 years ago, this guy was half the size he was. He came in, he was a future football star, played in an all-star game. Love his mom to death, Kiana Akins, and the Q, as we call her. And I've watched him grown, started out at Calvary, now he's over at Jenkins, and he put the ball team on his back. He was supposed to come on the first week. That was our first ESPN high school game day of the week, fueled by N Market, and they played a quarter in about 4 minutes, and Lightning opened up at Pooler Stadium. It was against New Hampstead, Jenkins against New Hampstead. He only touched the ball 3 or 4 times, and they came back on Saturday, and they couldn't get anything going. They lost. So it worked out perfect because he had to go play on Saturday. He couldn't come in, but now he's in after a big game last week. They had a bye last night, and just a great game, okay? Let me find my notes. Okay, here it is. Senior running back, Jerry Smith, rushed for 173 yards, 2 scores. He also had 1 catch for a 32-yard touchdown in the first half. He put the team on his back. Great win. This week's Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week from HV Jenkins High School. Again, 2-time winner of the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week, Jeremy Smith. Jeremy, always a pleasure having you in, and boy, man, have you grown.
Yes, sir.
I mean, you can look down on Mama now. But, you got to look up to Mama because Mama's not going to let you do anything wrong, right?
Yes, sir.
So, once again, congratulations on a big game the other night against South Effingham. You guys needed that win. A lot of new guys stepping in, and something special the other night for you, eh?
Yes, sir.
Did you expect to get the ball that much?
I didn't expect. I thought I was going to play defense most of the game, but Coach Kell put me to the side and was like, this is your ball game. We need you. So I just made it happen, put some numbers on the board.
And, did you expect to, hit the edge and go there? You were going to have such a big game?
Once I saw the edge was wide open, I just kept punching it till they could stop me.
Okay, hit the edge and keep on running. So
yes, sir.
Now you've been playing football for a long time, and I know I asked you when you were an 8th grader, but give the people when you started carrying the rock, when you were, playing a little with the pigskin. When did it all start?
It started when I was 9. I started playing out with the boys club, but then I moved over to the Stars, and then from middle school it just took off, the recruiting process, and then high school just started making numbers.
Started making numbers, and you wound up at HV Jenkins High School. Now, last year, you guys had a great season.
Yes,
Dream
sir.
run, 12-0 going. You lost the last game in the playoffs. And this year, there's a bunch of new guys. Tell us what the atmosphere is like this year, your senior year over at HV Jenkins High School.
I mean, the atmosphere is pretty good. We have a young 2020 class, some dogs. The senior class, I think we have 11 seniors. So the senior class, we're just motivating them guys to fill the spots in that left from last year. And hopefully we can do something big again this year.
Well, you stepped it up big the other night. Tell us about the other seniors that you guys are relying on. You, Coach Cam, Coach Cameron, and who are the other guys besides Jeremy Smith?
Ashanti Daniels, Ronald Cooper, Torres Simmons, Carter Giles, Robbie, and a couple other dogs that have to step up too. Some shoes to fill.
Well, you guys got a lot of young guys stepping in. Quarterback
Patrick Blake
stepping in for Javante Middleton. Of course, Tyrone Scott. Middleton playing at Citadel. Scott over at Central Michigan.
Amin
Stevens now. What did he go against? Lenore Ryan.
Yes, sir.
So we're going live. Okay, so we're going to get in here. Here we go now. We finally got it in. We're on Facebook Live. Let me slide in here, too. Okay, and of course, okay. Why that, though? Why that?
What, Boston College?
Boston College? Why that? Oh, that's where she went to school.
I got to rep the Eagles.
She got to rep the Eagles because that's where she went to school. But anyway, so a lot of new guys. So is it going to be fun following these guys playing college football?
Yes, sir, it is.
So tell me what do you expect from these guys?
Tyrone, I mean, he's just a ball player. He should put up some numbers, catch some deep balls. Javante Middleton, he's going to be a leader on the field, a vocal leader. And I know he's going to step in the field. I mean, he's just going to hit the hole.
So I know it's a dream of yours. You want to get
sir.
to the next level. Tell us who's been looking at Jeremy Smith.
Marshall, Tulane, Coastal Carolina, and Mercer.
I didn't hear Boston College in there. We could use you up there in Eagle Country.
Yes,
so
ma'am.
I heard you talking to Carl about when you first started playing football at 9 years old.
Mm-hmm.
When you were 9 years old, was it love at first pigskin, or what was it about football that you were like, I think I could be good at this, and I think I could really enjoy playing this sport?
I think like when I was young, I was just playing because my friends were playing. It was just having fun on Saturdays, and I think it really started in middle school when the coaches started getting my attention. I went to football camps. I played in Future Stars, and then I just saw that I had a good talent, and I just stepped on my foot and just kept pushing.
When you guys are in high school, football is so different. Sports are so different nowadays than when, Karl and I and Markell and I were in high school. It's a grind. It's an all-year thing. How do you balance life, sports, academics? How do you balance all of that together and still be able to sleep and enjoy life a little bit?
You just have to have a talk with yourself and sacrifice, put things to the side and focus on what you want to do. And it's a real grind. The whole summer busy, on the road, taking college trips, not really talking to friends and all that, just working with the teammates, getting that bond, getting that chemistry, and working for the season.
And you're listening to the Coach and Maikos right here on ESPN Radio Savannah Hilton Head. We're at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete of the Week. We're talking to HV Jenkins, senior running back, defensive back, punt returner, kickoff returner, you name it, he'll do it. He'll probably carry the water out to the game and drive the bus, Jeremy Smith. So senior year, what goals did you set for yourself?
I really didn't set any goals. I just wanted to ball up my senior year, put up some numbers, and go out to school. Free education. Yes, sir.
And we talked about the team going making a deep run in the playoffs, the best record since 1966. How about team goals? What are you guys' goals this year as a team?
To just have a bond, win games, and just remain healthy.
And get back to the playoffs, too,
yes,
right?
sir, get back to the playoffs.
Now, Coach Cameron's been your coach for 2 years. He's the new guy on the block. Tell us about Coach Cameron and the coaching staff over at Jenkins High School.
Coach Cameron, he came in, and he just took me in. He was a great coach, big on discipline, big on leadership, and he's just a great coach, and the coaching staff is good as well.
You do not get to where you are in life, you're still young, without the support of family, friends. Talk about your mom. Karl talks about her, how amazing she is. What kind of influence did she have on you, and how has she helped you get to where you are right now?
My mother, she had a big influence on me. She never missed a game. The road trips, she got me there. Everything else, anything I needed, she got it for me. She's just a big support, big love, and I love her for that.
All right, well, now you're going into college, and let's put football aside. Any future plans, what you want to do, what you want to be besides a football star?
I want to study in sports medicine. Yes, sir.
Nice. Going to be an orthopedic doctor, I hope, right?
Yes, sir.
Mom would like that. So, anyway, any school you leaning towards? Anything you want to be? Not want to be, but any school that is a front runner? Or you're not allowed to say that yet?
Not allowed to say it yet.
So, are you planning on early signing in December? Or are you going to wait till the real national signing day in February?
I might sign early.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Rest of the season, I mean, you still got to play Southeast Bullock. You got to still play Benedictine, Islands, Windsor Forest. Tough schedule down the road. What does Jeremy Smith see the season like for the Warriors?
Just going to work. We ain't going to say too much.
You talked about college. How hard has that recruiting process been for you? Because a lot of people look at it like, oh wow, all these schools are coming after you, and that must be nice. But I know it's hard. I know that's another grind as well. And what has that process been like for you, the recruiting process?
It's been pretty good, but like once you get in the recruiting process, you have to really look into the college, the university, and see like what can they give to you. How's the academics? Life after football, really? Are they going to be with you and all that?
So you got to work hard to do it. Well, Jeremy, so far so good. You're off to a 1-1 start. I know you guys would have liked to beat New Hampstead. Tough game, but like you said, you got not a lot of new shoes to fill. A lot of dogs got to step up. But great game the other night for South Effingham. I know this was before South Effingham, but you know what? You deserve it anyway. So you're this week's Athlete of the Week, Jeremy Smith from H.V. Jenkins High School. I know it says August 18th. That's when you're supposed to come on, but a little lightning delay changed that. Keep up the great work, and make sure you let us know where you're going and what you're going to do. I want to be like Big Frank. Let's do it first on our show right here on Coach and Maikos.
Yes, sir, I will do.
And Q, you got a good one right here. So, once again, Dr. Bart Wetherington, thank you for supporting us. Thank you for supporting this award every week. You've been doing it now for 7 years with the coach, and now, of course, with the Maikos. Remember, your back hurts, another body part hurts all the time. It makes you mad. The pain drives you crazy. You just want to pick something up and do what, Melissa?
You want to throw it.
And she can't do it when her back hurts. So, but at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic, you get complete chiropractic care, pain relief to move better, have a less painful life, and, of course, achieve a healthier life. The Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic now is located at 2 locations, Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, in Savannah, Georgia at 329 Eisenhower Drive, and on Tuesdays and Thursdays in Pooler, Georgia at 114 Canal Street, Suite 603. So visit Dr. Bart Wetherington at the Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic for all your chiropractic needs. Next up, a little WTOC talk with the man himself.
Talk.
She's being funny. Go back to Beantown, please. Okay, we're going to talk to the WTOC Mid-Morning Live host and, of course, the Tailgate host with Ken Griner from WTOC, Tim Guidera. We're going to talk Bulldog football. You're listening to the Coach and Maikos right here on
ESPN Radio, Savannah Hilton Head.
We'll be right back after this.
Back to Coach Karl DeMasi and Maikos on ESPN Radio.
And it's the Coach and Maikos talking some Georgia Bulldog football. Today at 3:30 between the hedges, Sanford Stadium, it's the Bulldogs against Austin Peay. And what better way to get the man that's going up there and doing the tailgate show? He's also the mid-morning live host on WTOC. He was also a cohort of yours in pre-game shows, and always fun to have this man on the ESPN Savannah mobile hotline, Savannah Smiles mobile hotline from WTOC. Tim Guidera. I always want to say Savannah Morning News, Tim, but I do apologize about that.
Old habits die hard, Karl.
Well, I followed your golf column every week, and what you wrote about it was a lot of fun, and now you're just taking your talents to the TV. But once again, we always appreciate you coming on here, especially for Georgia Bulldog football, because I know you're a Yankee like me, but you love your Bulldog football.
You know, it's really become one of my most favorite sports to cover. I mean, I hadn't really seen big-time college football until I moved south, other than on, maybe the game of the week when I was growing up. But there is nothing like the atmosphere of a major college football game. There's going to be 97,000 people in Sanford Stadium today for Austin Peay. How great is that?
All right, I got a quick question for you. You're like me, a New Yorker. You grew up on Staten Island. I grew up on Long Island. I had to follow Notre Dame because that's all my father knew. How about you? Who did you follow while you were growing up?
I was actually an Oklahoma fan growing up because my family almost moved there when I was in like 8th grade. So I kind of always had an attention. And I was also a big Billy Sims fan, so that's kind of I had an affinity for Oklahoma, but was always aware of Georgia, especially with the Herschel teams, because if you remember back then, Karl, there was a game of the week. It was, I think, it was on ABC, and you would see Georgia when Herschel was playing a couple times a season. So, I kind of got a little taste of Georgia football all the way back then.
All right, Georgia broke my heart on New Year's Day when they defeated in 1980 when Herschel Walker and the Bulldogs beat Notre Dame. But anyway, we'll go to another story. So, Melissa, go right ahead.
Yeah, Tim, a lot of expectations for this UGA football team, the 2018 campaign. They obviously were chomping at the bit to hit the gridiron again and hit some teams other than themselves from this summer and whatnot. What are the expectations for them this year, in terms of being ranked third and trying to get back to that national championship game?
Yeah, Melissa, I think everybody's expectation is that this season picks up where last season left off. I mean, nobody is really paying a lot of attention to what this team lost, which was a lot. I mean, they lost 2 first-round picks off the offense, maybe the best running back tandem the SEC has ever had, and 6 or 7 of the best players on defense. But the belief seems to be that this team has really kind of established itself among college football's elite. I mean, Georgia has had good seasons before, and then the next season they might not have followed it up on. Everybody really expects Georgia now as at a level where they will just kind of stay on that plane, but it takes an awful lot to get where they were last year. A lot went right. They stayed healthy, and they had a couple breaks go their way with the exception of some mistakes at Auburn. But there's really doesn't seem to be any step back, especially you mentioned that number 3 ranking, the top-ranked recruited class coming in, and Kirby Smart has recruited so well in the last 3 years that there's a lot of good young talent ready to step in, but they still have to reach a certain level to perform the way that last year's team did.
Well, Tim, I got lost of I-95. You got lost a little earlier than I did. I got lost in 95. You got lost in 92. But what my perception of Georgia football is, it's like Charlie Brown and Lucy. When Charlie Brown is going to go kick the field goal and Lucy pulls the ball out from every time. Every year this happens to me with Georgia football. Yeah, I'm a diehard Notre Dame fan, but I know more about Georgia football now than I do Notre Dame, and just like with the Braves, with the Yankees. But I just don't see this team. I just don't know if they have enough to get over the hump, and that's been the problem with Georgia football for me. Do they have enough to get over the hump and bring home a national championship since the last one in 1980?
Yeah, there's certainly been that persona. I mean, every time they've gotten close in the last, since 1980, something has come along. I mean, the last 2 times they played Alabama in Atlanta, one in the SEC championship game, one in the national championship game, they should have won both games.
Yeah.
And they actually something happened that they didn't. So there is that kind of, in the past, there was always that mentality that, Georgia will find a way to lose in the end. I think they're past that now. I think Kirby Smart brings a different mentality and different persona to this team, and that has kind of bled over to the fan base, that there's a confidence there now with Georgia that I don't think has been there since the 80s. Because he's getting the players, and he's not only getting players because Georgia has always recruited well, but he's developing those players when they get there, and they are coming on the field and they are playing. Last year, even though they were a veteran team with a lot of senior leaders, they had some good young players, DeAndre Swift, Jake Fromm, SEC Freshman of the Year, who delivered on the big stage at the big moments. So I think Georgia fans are coming around to the fact, or trying to convince themselves that all, we're going to lose in the end mentality is something of the past. Clemson overcame that. There was always the thought that Clemson was, the Clemsoning theory that they would lose the big game. Well, they don't do that anymore. They've won 82 games in the last 7 years, 7 straight 10-game seasons. I think Georgia fans are starting to see themselves as the next Clemson.
Yeah, Tim, so how and I hate to say this term, but how does Jake Fromm avoid that sophomore slump after such a successful campaign last year?
I think it's just the way he practices that seems to be so positive. I've heard the phrase this year a couple of times that he is the Roquan Smith of the offense.
Oh, wow.
There can't be a bigger compliment made. Mm-hmm. If you watch Georgia's defense last year, just the way that Roquan Smith played with intelligence and leadership, if Jake Fromm is half of that, the offense, he shouldn't step back at all. Of course, he's going to be pushed forward by a very good recruit, the number 1 quarterback recruit in the nation,
right.
Coming in Justin Fields.
Right, of course.
Who is going to play a little bit this year. So if there's any way that, if there's a reason that Jake Fromm kind of doesn't play up to the level he did last year, maybe it's because he's uncomfortable with the dual quarterback system, which we really don't know, and I don't think we'll know after today, how much that's going to come into play.
All right, well, today is game day. They've got Austin Peay, and, I hate these games because it's a no-win situation for Georgia, ranked number 3, and you've got this, FCS team coming in, and, they really have nothing to lose. The governors have nothing to lose going into Sanford Stadium. So how does Georgia make sure that they do what they're supposed to do without maybe, playing down to the level of a team that obviously is not up to the level of UGA and an SEC and, a football bowl championship series team?
Well, you would think for the first game of the season, everybody's ready to play.
Right.
And, Georgia has had those performances in the past, the Nickel States and the, Central Michigan teams that they should be putting away by 4 or 5 touchdowns that they're still in a game with in the fourth quarter and the starters are still in. Kirby Smart said something before the season that really kind of stuck with me. And he said it doesn't have anything to do with who you're playing. It's that he prepares his team to play to a standard. Mm-hmm. And that standard is the same whether they're playing Austin Peay or Alabama. And if they can play to that standard, then they won't have those slip-up games. They won't have those no-show games where they're just kind of sleepwalking through and not putting away a team. 42-point favorite today. I don't know if they cover that because you're not going to be playing your best players long enough into a game to score that many points perhaps. But I think that this Georgia team is different enough that they at least coast.
All right, last question. I know you're on the road. We got about a minute 30 to get out of here to go to a break to pay some bills. All right, you've been around here a long time. You got Clemson with Mylan Richards. You got Georgia Tech with Brad Stewart and Zach Quinney starting. You got the 2 kids from Savannah starting at University of Jacksonville, Irvin Riley and Calvin Turner. We got Colton Lichtenberg up at Boston College. When was the last time, Tim, that you saw so many Savannah kids playing big-time football here out of Savannah, Georgia?
You know what? It was before I was covering high school football in Savannah. That's really become not a new trend because it was a big thing in the 80s. Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia all recruited the Savannah area hard in the early 80s. But you're right, Carl. That dropped off for decades, really. But really within the last 5 or 6 years, they've discovered Georgia again. They've discovered Savannah again. They've discovered the Coastal Empire again, and it is great to see. I mean, who would? Can you even believe that it's Brad Stewart's senior year at Georgia Tech? I mean, that time flew by so fast. But I think it's a tribute to the improvement of high school football in Savannah and the surrounding area. But then also, recruiting is a different animal now than it is with the internet because you're able to hear about kids in small cities and go out and see them that you might not have heard about 20 years ago.
You got that. Well, Tim, tell your chauffeur, Ken Grant over there, you two have a good time, and as always, go Dogs.
That's right. We're pulling up into Adrian right now, and I'm going to relieve Ken on the steering wheel after this.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy the rest of the day. Hope to see you both next week at Tunnel Tower.
We'll see you. We'll talk to you then, too.
Bye, Tim.
Thanks, guys.
I mean, what more do you want? The man's been here since 1992. He knows his sports. He loves Georgia sports now. He is a big Yankee fan like us, though. I will tell you that.
Yes.
But anyway, what a great report.
And he's salt of the earth, Carl. I mean, he does so much for our community, and he does so much. And he's such a hard worker. There's, a couple people that you can just tell that they're passionate about what they do. I miss working with him. I really enjoyed that tailgate show because it really boiled down to, the bare bones of just talk sports.
All right, next up, it's going to be the coach with Kell and Mell wrapping up. We're going to take 3 out the door. Little college football questions for my cohorts right here. And it's all right here on ESPN Radio. Savannah Hilton Head. It's the coach of Maikos. We'll be right back after this.
Now here's the coach, Karl DeMasi and Melissa Maikos on ESPN Radio.
And welcome back to the coach of Maikos right here. Well, Maikos, we're at the end. Last segment. We got about 5 minutes to go here, so we got to make this quick. 3 out the door. And what better way than talk about college football? And I think the biggest one, or one of the biggest questions I'm going to ask you two to break down. Okay, I'm the, I guess the host, and you guys can talk about it. Urban Meyer.
Hostess with the mostest.
How will Ohio State do against without Urban Meyer today?
I'll let Kell start this one off.
I think actually they'll be fine. They're a well-oiled machine. I don't think it'll be a distraction. I think they'll be ready to go, I think they'll win.
I'm so tired of hearing about the Urban Meyer thing, but I will tell you that as a teacher, when we have substitutes, I expect my classroom to run like a well-oiled machine. I expect my classroom to run the same way it's supposed to. I set those routines and rituals in place, drilled it into them. They know what's expected, and I expect them to perform as if I was still there. So that is my expectation of Ohio State football. I think they will be fine.
They're taking on the Oregon State Beavers, not a slouch program either.
No,
it's not
definitely
Austin Peay or Alcorn State.
Or UMass, but yes, I think they'll be fine. I think just because the coach won't be on the sidelines, I think that they have prepared for this, even though they didn't have much time to prepare for Urban not being there the first couple of games. I think they'll be all right.
Okay, second question out the door. Alabama, Nick Saban, quarterback problem. Two quarterback system. What do you think?
I don't like it. I like the idea of it. I think it's good to have a closer and, a starter, whatever in baseball. But I think but I mean, again, it's Nick Saban. He knows what the heck he's doing. Look what he did at the championship game by bringing the freshman in. I don't like it. I do like Jalen Hurst. I liked him a lot. But maybe it is like having a different pitcher pitch a different game based on who you're playing. I don't know. Markell.
I have to agree. I do not like it. I think you need to pick your horse and run with him until and if you have to make an adjustment later, fine. But I think you don't want anybody over their shoulder. Pick the best quarterback that you feel is going to take your team, and you just know that you have a backup that's obviously qualified and has won a national championship either way. So just make the decision.
I'm going to jump in on this one. Being a former head coach, I want one quarterback the team's going to get behind. It's either Jalen or Tua. Make your choice. Okay, Jalen or Tua. That's all you got. Choose Jalen or Tua.
I want Jalen.
Who you
I want Jalen.
Tua, definitely.
All right, there's going to be a little fight in that family tonight. Okay, last question. Okay, well, we got to make this quick. Well, two questions, okay? Of course, we're going to talk Georgia at the end here. But Boston College, you guys are big Boston College fans. They're playing UMass, which is just down the road. We got Colton Lichtenberg. You got to love that name.
Yep.
The field goal kicker from Country Day, kicking for Boston College. I think it's a blowout.
He's going to have a lot of points on the board today with extra points. A.J. Dillon is going to run all over. What's UMass's mascot?
Isn't it Terriers?
No, that's Boston U. Minutemen, yes, that's right. Yes, they're going to be on the field for a minute, and then the defense is going to have to come back on.
I'm going to say it will be a blowout. Boston College does tend to start slow in that first game of the year, so I think it'll be a little bit close in the first half, and then I think they'll run away with it.
All right, we are your source for Bulldog football. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? You're playing Austin Peay, 42-point favorites. You're between the hedges. 98,000 people, as Tim Guidera just said. New section being, unveiled. Well,
and they have their secret weapon, Ugga.
They best mascot in college football.
Yes, I love me some Ugga.
He's from Savannah, Georgia, too.
Yes, he sure is. The Seiler family who lives in Savannah, and you could see Ugga walking around Savannah, Forsyth Park. But yes, you got to go UGA, 100 to 15.
Now you know she's toying.
We don't need to even dignify that with a response, right. Carl.
I got
it'll
you.
Be a blowout. I was actually hoping that they'd be playing another team, but hey, it's a tune-up game. They just go out and take care of business. They'll be fine.
All right, guys. Well, it's always a lot of fun. We're here every Saturday morning, and we got to wrap this one up. We got to thank all our guests, of course, Jane Grismer, Tunnel to Tower Run Coordinator, Jeremy Smith, our Wetherington Chiropractic Clinic Athlete Week, Tim Guidera from WTOC, and our man behind the scenes, Cody Quinn, who does a great job. But, Melissa, it always flies by too fast.
Yeah, it sure does, and it's going to get even faster now that football season
is here. Now that football's here. So we got a lot to do following the show, okay? Keep in mind, we got the tailgate show kicking off, the pregame show at 11:30, Austin Peay against Georgia. Then at 10 o'clock tonight, we'll also have the BYU Brigham Young University taking on Arizona at 10 o'clock. Tomorrow we'll have Braves baseball at 3:50 against the Pirates in the STP. Then we'll join the LSU Miami game after the Braves are done. And then on Monday, the Red Sox taking on the Braves, and then Virginia Tech and Florida State. Remember, every Saturday morning you can listen to the Coach and Maikos right here on ESPN Radio. So enjoy the rest of the weekend until next Saturday. Like I say, may it be your best week ever. And if you get a chance, always do what, Melissa?
Score a touchdown.
Go Dogs! Score a touchdown. You're supposed to hit it out of the park. She's changing my little saying. But anyway, we'll talk to you next week at Orleans Square for the Tunnel to Tower Run.
has been the Karl DeMasi Sports Report on ESPN Radio Savannah Hilton Head, AM 1400 and FM 104.3.